Good evening, and thank you to the Commission for allowing me to speak briefly during this hearing. My name is Kyle Hynes. I'll be a freshman at Carnegie Mellon during the fall, and I was the winner of the youth division of the 2018 and 19 Draw the Lines PA contests. I want to start by adding my voice to the chorus of those asking for fair and equitable maps to come out of the end of this process. But I know that this is a sentiment that is widely shared, so I want to move on to what I think it means for a map to be fair. For the past several months, and indeed at this hearing, you've undoubtedly heard a lot about keeping districts compact and contiguous, respecting county boundaries, avoiding splitting municipalities. You probably haven't heard a lot about intentionally drawing these districts to be competitive. But I'm a strong believer that unless a citizen's vote has a real chance to make a difference, then that person is essentially excluded from the electoral process. In the absence of competitive districts, there are safe districts, seats that so heavily favor one party or another that an election result could be predicted years in advance. There are many reasons to believe that minimizing the number of safe seats is a good idea. First, being in a safe seat changes the people to whom an elected representative is accountable. In a competitive district, the representative is accountable to every citizen and has to cater to their needs to be reelected. By contrast, in a safe seat, representatives are mainly accountable to their own partisan base and no one else. The real fights end up being in the primaries in May, not the general elections in November. In those elections, a substantial portion of the population is excluded and turnout is low. These safe seats, as a general rule, push their representatives to be more extreme, or more commonly, replace them with new representatives who are more extreme. Much of the population has no input in this decision, and there's no requirement that representatives in safe seats actually serve their entire districts. Secondly, being in a safe seat means that most voters, as I said before, have very little influence on who their representative is. Competitive seats are home to empowered voters who every 2 or 4 years have a very real chance to influence who their elected representative is. In safe districts, that's not the case. Consider the unfairness in a presidential race where a resident of Pennsylvania holds considerable sway, but across any state border, Ohio, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, or West Virginia, and a voter will have considerably less influence in a state that's been shaded red or blue well before the election ever took place. Finally, safe seats receive virtually no attention at any time of the year, while representatives in competitive seats are forced to campaign and work and bust their butts for their votes. This, of course, is a benefit. Having to campaign, travel the district, and listen to regular people every day is what keeps members grounded and helps them to not drift out of touch with their constituents. This, again, is key to good representation. A map full of competitive seats has more benefits than just the dearth of safe seats as well. Pennsylvania usually has extremely tight statewide vote totals, meaning a map could conceivably be drawn with about 25% of the seats safely Democratic, 25% of the seats safely Republican, and about half 50-50. Since competitive seats have a habit of trending together, one way or the other, on election night, it would give the party the voters had chosen a large mandate to enact their policies. In a capital like Harrisburg that's known for legislative gridlock, that could only be a benefit. Furthermore, it would make it mathematically almost impossible for a party to win control of the state legislature on a minority of the votes, something that has happened repeatedly in this state. Ensuring that the party with the most votes wins the most seats is of the utmost importance. Many of the other values you've heard here tonight are certainly worthwhile. Keeping towns and cities together in a district is important for good representation, and districts are constitutionally mandated to be contiguous and to have roughly equal populations. Preserving county boundaries, while a good check to prevent partisans from gerrymandering, also makes it harder to draw a truly competitive map when those coming to the table are acting in good faith. Adhering to these arbitrary county lines that were drawn in the 18th and 19th centuries can end up reducing the competitiveness of a district, which is something that we don't want to do. So I would ask, when there's a conflict between different values in drawing the map, between, say, keeping a community together or drawing a competitive seat, I hope the Commission will consider drawing the competitive seat. While there are some systems, like proportional representation, that forego single-member districts entirely and allow all of the values to be met simultaneously with numerous other benefits, implementing a system like that would be a matter for the legislature and not the Commission. So I urge the Commission to draw competitive districts whenever possible in drawing this map. Thank you again for all the hard work that you're doing to make sure Pennsylvanians have the best possible map for the coming decades. I appreciate your time.
You and I both need to learn how to push these buttons right, I think. Thank you. Congratulations on your contest win. You are the first person who has raised this topic. Yes. And where did you say you're going to school next year?
Carnegie Mellon, Pittsburgh.
In the second row there is our mapping consultant. He is a postdoc at Carnegie Mellon, and a Carnegie Mellon professor will be testifying tomorrow evening, kind of near the end of the hearing, and I believe his views are very compatible with yours, so you might want to tune in.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.